All right, welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Definitely always ready to go deep.
Well, today we're diving into something really special. Griselda's WWCD.
Ooh, yeah, a classic.
Now, this isn't just going to be us breaking down the tracks, you know?
Mm,
This is more for the listeners who want to get why it's more than just music, you know what I mean?
for sure. It's an album that gets you thinking. Like, it's not just about the sound, but the whole message, the context.
Exactly. And to really get that, I think we got to start with Griselda themselves.
Okay, makes sense.
Westside Gunn, Conway the Machine, Benny the Butcher, three voices, and man, they come together to make something really unique.
And the interesting thing is how each of them, they kind of represent different sides of Buffalo, where they're from.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like their music isn't about escaping that. It's more like reflecting it, processing what they've lived through.
So it's like they're giving us a tour of Buffalo, but not the touristy stuff.
Exactly. This is the real deal. Raw Buffalo, the side most people never see.
Man, and that rawness, you hear it in their sound too. Think about 2019 when WWCD dropped, right?
Yeah,
Hip-hop was all about trap, auto-tune, that kind of stuff.
for sure.
But Griselda, they went the opposite direction. They brought back this gritty, almost old-school sound, kind of like 90s East Coast rap.
Totally. It's like they went back in time to that boom-bap era, but they didn't just copy it. They made it new again.
They reinvented it.
Yeah.
It's wild. Why do you think that revival, that sound, why did it hit so hard with listeners?
I think people were hungry for something real, something with, like, actual depth.
Yeah, yeah.
When everything was super produced, Griselda comes in, they're just themselves, unapologetically.
Right.
And that connected with people who were tired of the same old stuff.
It's funny you say that because even how WWCD is produced, it's pretty stripped down.
Yeah.
Daringer, Beat Butcha, they created this dark, super minimal sound. It really puts the focus on what they're saying, the lyrics.
Totally. Like, it's not about catchy hooks or making it for the radio. It's about making you feel something, setting a whole mood.
Yeah, yeah.
Those loops, the eerie piano, it's like you're right there on the streets of Buffalo with them.
Some folks might say it gets repetitive, but I think that does something too.
How so?
It's like how street life can feel,
Yeah.
going in circles, trapped.
I see what you mean. It's not just about making a catchy song, but conveying something deeper.
Exactly. Exactly. And those lyrics, man, Griselda, they're master storytellers.
Oh, sure.
They weave these cinematic stories, mix in their own experiences, and it's like they make this world that's both like captivating and kind of unsettling at the same time.
Totally agree. It's like that line from Benny the Butcher on Moselle, I'm 5'8", but 6'11" when I stand on my bricks.
Man, that line's so good.
It says so much about what they're about. Ambition, not giving up, overcoming the odds. It's recognizing your worth, even when the world tries to tell you you're nothing.
There's this darkness in their lyrics, a danger, but then it's mixed with this almost fantastical thing,
Yeah, it's like they blend reality and myth, and you're never quite sure where you are.
And it's that mix that keeps you hooked. And speaking of things that make you think, man, that album cover,
Oh, yeah.
they put Claire on it. Homeless woman, local icon in Buffalo. That's a bold move, don't you think?
Definitely a statement. It shows that their music isn't just for entertainment. It comes from a real place, their community.
Right.
Having Claire there, it's like they're saying, look closer, see the people who get overlooked.
It's like they're saying, this is us, these are our stories, and they matter.
It's powerful, especially in a genre that sometimes gets criticized for glamorizing violence and all that. They're saying something different.
So we're seeing how WWCD goes way beyond just music. It's about being real, about community, about the power of stories.
Right.
But what about the guys themselves, the talents that make up Griselda? They each bring something different.
Absolutely. You've got Westside Gunn. He's like the driving force behind the whole movement. And his style, man, it's flamboyant, almost experimental, He takes risks, pushes boundaries.
He's like setting the whole vibe.
Yeah, and then there's Conway. He's more grounded. His lyrics hit you hard.
Straight to the point.
His delivery, it's so precise, gritty. He's not afraid to get personal, share his struggles.
And that makes you connect with him, even when he's rapping about street life.
Exactly. And then you have Benny, lyrical genius, man. His verses are dense, so much wordplay.
Benny's a master storyteller. Paints a picture with his words. And it's fascinating how their styles, they actually work together,
Oh, yeah.
It's like they're playing off each other, like a lyrical conversation.
They feed off each other's energy. Tracks like Chef Dreads, Cruiserweight Coke, you can really hear that chemistry.
It's like they're trading lines, finishing each other's thoughts. It's wild.
Hmm.
And that kind of leads us to, I think, one of the most interesting things about WWCD, the impact it had on hip-hop as a whole. This album put them on the map, right?
Definitely. It became this underground sensation. Everyone was talking about them.
Griselda, this group from Buffalo, bringing back a sound everyone thought was gone. It's amazing.
They proved that keeping it real could still break through, even in a genre that's all about trends and image.
But what about the people who didn't like it?
Mm.
Some found it too harsh, too dark, you know. How would you respond to that?
Well, you got to remember, their music is a reflection of where they come from. They're not trying to sugarcoat it. They're showing it raw, how it is.
Makes sense.
And that honesty, it can be tough for some people to handle.
Yeah, it's like looking in a mirror and not liking what you see. But that's also what makes it powerful, right?
For sure. It makes you confront things, the realities people face.
And in doing that, they make space for understanding, for empathy. It's like their music bridges different worlds, you know? People who've been through similar stuff and those who have no idea.
Exactly. It's powerful. And that connection is so important these days, especially when everything feels so divided.
So we're seeing how WWCD goes beyond just the music.
Yeah.
It's a statement about being real, about community, about telling stories that matter. But what about the artistic side of it? They could easily toned it down to appeal to more people,
Oh, yeah.
but they didn't.
And that's what's so important about them. WWCD shows you that you don't have to compromise your vision to make it.
Right.
They stayed true to themselves, their roots, and that connected with people who were looking for something real, something genuine.
It's like a reminder that being authentic has value,
Yeah.
that it can really make a difference. And that's bigger than just music. You know? It's for anyone who's ever felt pressured to fit in, to be someone they're not.
Absolutely. WWCD is like an anthem for individuality, celebrating what makes you different. And that message, it still inspires so many people, artists and listeners alike.
So we've talked about their sound, their lyrics, their impact, the message, but let's bring it back to the listener, right?
Yeah.
Someone who maybe hasn't heard WWCD before, why should they care? What's in it for them?
Well, first off, it's a great album, plain and simple. The beats are sick, the rapping is incredible, the stories will pull you in.
For sure.
But on top of that, WWCD lets you see a world that most people ignore. A world that's tough, but beautiful, full of struggle, but also resilience.
It's like a reminder that there are stories out there that need to be told, voices that need to be heard. And Griselda, they do an amazing job of giving those voices a platform.
They make you think about your own assumptions, see things from different angles, connect with people who are different from you.
And they do it all with music that's raw and real, but also engaging. You think and you feel it all at the same time. So if you're looking for something that will challenge you, move you, make you think, WWCD is definitely worth checking out.
It's an album that sticks with you, you know? It makes you question things, feel things, maybe even see the world in a new way.
And that's what makes it more than just music. It's an experience, a journey, a conversation starter. But even more than that, it's about the power of being true to yourself.
It reminds us that being real, staying true to your vision, that can be a powerful thing.
And in a world where everyone's telling you to conform, to fit in, man, that's a powerful message.
It is. WWCD isn't just an album, it's a statement. Like they're saying, this is us, take it or leave it. And that connects with anyone who's ever felt like they don't belong, you know?
Yeah.
It gives you permission to be yourself, to embrace what makes you unique.
And to know that your story matters.
Exactly. Your story matters.
One thing that really hit me about WWCD is how it feels like a love letter to Buffalo.
Yeah.
They could have easily just like ignored that part, tried to appeal to more people, but they didn't.
Sure.
They made Buffalo a part of everything.
Yeah, it's not just a setting for the music, it's like a character in the story.
Exactly. It shapes everything. And by doing that, they lift Buffalo up, show the world that there's beauty and depth in places that get overlooked.
And they challenge us to see past our own limited view, you know, to see the humanity in places and people we might normally dismiss.
It's a reminder that there are stories everywhere if you just listen. So as we kind of wrap this part of our dive into WWCD, what's the one thing you want our listeners to walk away with?
I want them to see WWCD for what it is, more than an album. It's a piece of history, a snapshot of a moment in time. It shows the power of being real, of challenging the norms.
It's about how music can make a difference, how it can empower people, bring them together.
And it shows the spirit of hip-hop, you know, this genre that came from struggle, that keeps evolving, pushing the boundaries.
So to everyone listening, we encourage you, Dive into WWCD. Experience it for yourselves. Let the music wash over you, the lyrics hit you, let Griselda's story move you.
And more than that, let this conversation get you thinking. What stories do you want to tell? What do you stand for? What makes you, you?
Embrace all that, celebrate it, and never be afraid to share it with the world.
That's what it's all about.